Welcome to another exciting episode of the Bud Rebel Show, the show that gives you really exciting guests, and we have one really great one today. We're also going to have our weird facts. We're going to talk about issues. We're going to have investment ideas, business ideas, things I hate, conspiracy theories, and I actually have a Bud Rebel Wood today, by the way. I have some other interesting thoughts, and of course, we end up with a happy note. And today's guest is someone that actually is going to be good for me because I need a little inspiration. I need a little oomph in my life there. So the young lady's name is Holly, and
Mhm.
Holly, were on something called TED Talks, if I remember correctly.
I
On
did, yeah.
so
TEDx talk.
let's talk about what you do for a living and how you got to that level and so forth.
Excellent. Well, I'm an author and an intuitive healer, and so I spent my time doing both things. I like helping and inspiring people, but I'm also super creative. So I have that as an outlet for myself. My journey to being a healer is kind of funny. It's really weird. And if you told me that would be my life, I would be like, you're smoking something funny. No way. I'm not going to do that. I spent 18 years in LA working in film and television. And then I just got to a point in my life where I feel like I was healed enough that I didn't want to be creative that way anymore, which really
Can
meant,
I stop you? Can I stop you for a
yeah,
moment? So you said you spent 18 years in California so what kind of work did you do there?
I was a producer out in LA. I worked at like Spelling Television. I worked at Sony, always an independent contractor my whole life. Yeah.
So you made a whole bunch of like TV shows and movies and
A
stuff?
lot of TVs, yeah. I actually went viral for an essay I wrote about my experience on the set of the movie Election.
Okay.
So, yeah, but it was like I went viral before TikTok, thank God. I don't think I could have survived the experience now. I'm a bit too old for what comes with that nowadays.
So did you get burnt out of the whole LA experience? Is that what happened? Or was you were there for 18 years? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a really a narcissistic, abusive system, right? So I think when you get to a point, for me, I had a starter marriage, and I just didn't believe in my own talent. So I would give all of my ideas to other people, get no credit, and not be able to get ahead. I just didn't kiss enough ass, if we could speak super directly. There is a lot of game playing, and I thought that my, 26 hours a day on set should account for something, but it really doesn't. So I'm not really built for that. I'm not an ass kisser. So ultimately, it didn't really work. I think the only regret I have about leaving is that I wanted to pitch a dance show. And another producer I was working with at a time, whose friend actually was like, no one will ever buy that. And I listened to him, which was the dumbest thing ever. The dumbest thing ever, because it was before Dancing with the Stars. It was
oh,
before all
yeah.
of that. So I was like, I was right.
So can I ask you, what was your best idea down there that someone stole it? We know about.
That someone stole?
You said they used your great ideas.
I mean, I can't even tell you, like on a day-to-day basis, you're just giving input, and you just don't get credit. So,
Oh, okay. And so, but as a producer, you're the person that puts everything together, basically, correct?
yeah, you hire. So I wanted to be a creative producer. That's really was my goal. I wanted to show up at the Oscars one day in a gown in a open air Jeep with my hair blown. I just thought that was like the quintessential image. And back in the day, I wanted a story about me having an alien baby in the Inquirer. I just thought that would be the epitome of making it. Again, before social media, like when we drove around with a map and like 17 CDs in our like visors. I don't know. I don't know. I think that was a long time ago for me. And I think,
Right.
I don't know, that kind of storytelling, I would say I outgrew.
So you did that for 18 years, and then all of a sudden, what did you decide to do after that now? Where did you go?
I decided I had a child, and I decided this infant actually can't wipe her ass. And you're a grown up and you should be able to. So instead of dealing with negotiations, I dealt with DGA and SAG and AFTRA. I was part of the Producers Guild. But instead of being able to be creative, I was handling 250 people complaining to me every day. And that just gets old. And I really wanted to be a mother. It was really important to me personally. And I waited a long time before I did it. And I was lucky enough to be in a position where I got to stay at home. I also don't exactly come from a family that's I'll show up at your house and help you kind of people. So I just decided, nah, I'd rather be a mom and you all can like sit in your fire, your dumpster fire. It is fun to still have friends and know a lot of all the behind the scenes stuff, which most people don't know. That is amusing, but then at some point, like you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, you get burnt out from it. Okay, so let's get how the TED Talk thing, how the healing part, how'd you become a healer and all that? How did that come about?
Yeah, so they're totally separate. So my TED Talk is about, so I live in the South now. I'm in North Carolina. When I first moved here, one of the first questions I got was very different than LA questions. LA questions are, where do you live? What do you drive? And what do you do? Those were the first three questions you got there. Here it was often, what church do you go to? Meaning because they wanted to pull you into community, which is actually very nice. And the next question always was, how many children do you have? Why don't you have more? You're such a good mom. Why don't you da da da? And it would be relentless to a point where I would almost always say three didn't stick. And that is what my TED Talk was about in that moment of, how are my accomplishments, my publishing book, my books, me winning Barnes and Noble awards, all of that didn't matter. What mattered and what I was being evaluated at a specific point in my life in my 40s was how many kids you have, and that's not enough. Are you one and done? You just think you're better than that? Did you, like, all of those things that were attached to it. And I addressed that in my TED Talk. And my work as a healer came about. Honestly, I've always had my gifts. I just didn't know you didn't have them, right? It's like, you have eyes, and if you have decent vision, you see. You're not thinking that another person really can't. So I just got to a point where I wanted to control them because I would get insights and hits, and I would see dead people a lot when I drank, which is very annoying. But I was like, what if I can control it? Like, what can I do to maybe see if I can turn it off and on and get specific things. And so I studied honestly and I practiced a lot and I just got better. And then I was thinking, when I'm older, like when I hit my 60s, I'll do it. I'll just, I'll open an office and see if what I can do. And when I said that out loud, the next day I got a phone call from a friend of a friend saying, "Hey, I know someone who's looking to share an office. Aren't you looking for an office?" And very much like the rest of my life, I was like, sure. I just say yes because I can try and fail or I can try and succeed. Either option, I've learned something. So I usually go for it. And so I just went for it. And
But
I've kind of been doing for a decade now.
all right, I'm gonna call back to Holly in one moment with a quick question, quick commercial break. I just want to know about her healing experience. What has she done and how she healed different people? Where did it come from? And we're back. Holly, this is interesting. What is a healer versus a doctor or whatever? I'm not really what the audience doesn't
Mm.
know. What is that? And
Oh, that's super fascinating. So, do you believe like in ESP or psychics, or do you believe there's more than what you can see and feel?
do I? I do,
Yeah.
but I'm a religious person. I'm just saying, so a healer calls on. Okay, if I have a stomach, what do you? Give me examples. What you do? Like,
Sure, sure. I think my specialty really is more people who are stuck and want to move out of transition points in their life. I often like explain things a certain ways. So, like, if you are having difficulty at work and always deal with hard relationships in your professional life, I'm going to tell you you have an unhealed trauma in your personal life. Some family dynamic is playing out in at work and you're still trying to master it and you just don't have consciousness over it. So like my gifts include being clairvoyant, clairaudient, all the fun things. And I'm an empath, which means I could feel your emotions. My special gifts, which kind of like I'm clearly not a therapist. I like to tell people that. I make you sign paperwork so you know that. Um, but I can see and feel things that are going on with you. And then I have to figure out how conscious and aware are you of them and how fast we can move to proceed with that. I also do energy work, which is super woo woo and not something maybe many people are into. Many people probably have heard though of Reiki. I don't need those magic little symbols that they work on. I just see it different. But I'll tell you a few things that I've seen in clients that I've caught. I had one client who was posting pictures on a trip to Hawaii, and I could see cancer all over her body. like when I looked at the picture on Instagram. So I had known her and counseled her through a divorce. So this was like supposed to be such a happy time for her. And I was like, hey, when you get back to town, I can't wait till we catch up. I just left a message. She's like, Holly, what's going on? I'm like, enjoy your trip. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. And when she got back, I was like, please go to the doctor ASAP. You have to go. Within a few weeks, she had a double mastectomy. She had super aggressive cancer.
Wow.
I saw that. I had another client. It was a
I'm scared. I'm
gentleman
not,
about
wait.
30.
Yeah.
And I was like going like this around him too. Like literally, I'll walk around the person. I was like, you need to call a cardiologist. The next day he had heart surgery.
So there's feelings that you have. And when did you learn that you had this ability?
Yeah, so I always had it. I figured out that not everyone has the gifts I have. I got really sick, and I needed to have like a hysterectomy, and I woke up, it was quiet. Meaning like all those other thoughts and feelings and impressions that I always get all day long were suddenly silent. So in theory, your if you've ever heard of chakras, your uterus is like your second chakra. So it was removed. So I had to what I call rewire and figure things out. And then I that's when I decided to really help people.
So my question, can you do this over the screen here? Can you see things with
Yeah.
me?
But
Like,
you're blurry. I'm like you're blurring your stuff. Like literally, you're blurred,
I'm
right?
blurry.
So
Well, I'm
you're
blurry. So
blurred.
you can't see it. I'm blurry. Okay.
You're blurred. You're
Oh
blurred.
God, man, that's wrong. No, because I was just curious. Like, there are people who feel trapped.
Yeah. Like for
Relationships.
me, honestly, okay, you don't want me to read you? Like a lot of
Yeah,
people don't. I usually don't. So
good.
you're just really tight around here. You have a little bit of panic. I don't know what you're worried about. And there's something that you're holding back that you're not really saying to someone who really needs to be said, but you haven't figured out the right words. And there's just someone kind of around you who rubs you the wrong way. I can't tell what that's about. And I can't tell if it's like an argument or something old. That's just from looking at you.
It's pretty good. No, because isn't that I don't really get again. I don't want to say
Yeah.
that's isn't that most people have that to some degree. The people have something they don't want to say to people. Like you could say general things to people, and they could think
You could totally, yeah, there's a lot
fake
of
it.
there's plenty of fakers. There's
Right,
plenty and
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 it also
unethical people too. I think that's true. I won't if I don't think I can help you, I won't work with you and I'll tell you that.
does a healer charge a good? I mean, is like therapy thing, or do people charge different amounts of money? How does therapy work
I
too?
mean, there's no
Well,
standard. When I started, I charged like nothing. I do events all the time that are really inexpensive just for someone who might be curious to like learn more. But, I have my own programs and my own things that I do that are a higher price point.
and you write. You said you wrote books. Also, is this about the healing, or is that about other things?
Yeah, I have like the picture that's here. We'll make it. Oh, I don't know if you do
Real
that
not
too.
perfect.
And
Yes.
you're,
Yeah.
yeah, Real Not Perfect, How to Be Your Happy, Authentic Self is a step-by-step guide to help you redefine who you are at this phase of your life, help you dig up and unearth things that might have been holding you back or old beliefs. It has like part workbook, and some meditations in there. And it's just like a really gentle way to explore what intuitive healing can be for you in your own control.
Interesting. And do you use do you go to heal yourself?
I do, I'm really picky. I'm super picky because I know who people are BS. So I only have one person right now that I would
Would you go
allow
to
that.
would you go to healer for mental and physical or both, or you go to emotional?
I mean, there are all sorts of healers. There are medical intuitives, there are, psychics who pull cards and do things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's all for what you want. I think the people I'm interested in helping are they have an awareness of wanting different, but they don't know how to get there. And they probably tried therapy and they're looking for more. They want a spiritual aspect to it.
And you said this. You said the word clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant, yeah.
That is what? Is that the
I
public?
just know things I can't possibly know. Like when I read you, like I wouldn't do that again on public,
That's what I
thing.
like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want you could you can leave
And
me
I
as
also like to
I'm very
tell people I
open.
don't Google them. That's
Right.
cheating, but right,
I
yeah,
need
I
help.
just
That's
know
fine.
things.
I'm fine. It's good. Okay, I got some weird facts for our audience out there. Just interesting facts here. Do you know the Cleveland Indians gave away a free lip section at a game? Is that
A free
wild?
what?
Lip suction at a game. Can you imagine that? Of all the things they can give away. Is that hysterical?
That is.
It's really crazy. Okay. Also, I want to touch on, well, that's interesting because you're a person. How do you feel about the legalization of drugs. I mean, marijuana's illegal. And
Mm.
another interesting drug that people are talking about a lot more. I went to a therapy a workshop, very interesting, and they had a whole thing about
Microdosing?
LSD type drugs.
Yeah.
People taking that, and it's interesting because then I talked to a friend of mine who was, he was a little wild when he was young, and he told me about his cousin. They put something in an LSD thing in his drug. He went right to mental hospital because and he was there for a while because he had a bad trip.
Yep.
I don't know about. I mean, you're hearing a lot that this is sometimes people think it's good and bad. I'm just curious what you think about other drugs being legal. Marijuana is being out, and
I mean, marijuana should be legal. I mean, that anything else is like ridiculous at this point. I mean, I studied that back when I was in college. We had this whole discussion like why it wasn't. It was really because the government hadn't figured out the right way to tax it. Um, I mean, legal drugs are illegal. I don't do drugs. I'm super sensitive to even over the counter medications in general. My thing with anything that will alter your reality, unless it's super controlled and you know where it came from, how much of a dose someone needs, da 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 da, I think you're asking for trouble. Like a lot of people, have you ever heard of ayahuasca? Like a lot of
yeah, that's what
people,
you're talking about that, right? That's
yeah.
what we're talking about mainly.
I will never do that because if you open a door around someone, and I'm talking about energetically, I know this is not really like your wheelhouse, but like if you're opening the door energetically and you are opening your eyes to see and experience things that you can't normally, and you're not around someone who can protect you or not let dark energy in or lower vibration, and you have a bad trip or you have a horrible experience and there people are like, oh, it's a rebirth. No, it's not. You're like letting horrible dark energy, and dark energy is really hard to remove. I don't deal in it at all. It's wicked and it attacks and it's for real. And so I'm like iffy on that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because they were talking about that, and I was like I said, I was just, I like to be open to all different things. Like I get, but it's like people like very big fans of marijuana, but I know people that got really hurt with marijuana. I mean, people that have mental health issues, and they took it, it made them much more paranoid than in hospital something. So these drugs are not always good. I'm very open-minded. Some medicines, like I said before, some medicines are good for people, psychiatric medicines. Some psychiatric medicines can hurt people. You have
Yeah,
to
I
be
like
wary of the side effect. Everything has side effects. I guess that's the one thing when you're talking about this healing thing, there wouldn't be that many side effects, I would
well,
think.
just energy there is like my energy. It wouldn't, it's like someone didn't really understand what I did. And I was like a writer's conference and he's like a big agent, like a big literary agent. He's like, I just don't understand. I don't believe in what you do. I'm like, okay, let me show you the difference. And like, I just had him put his hand out on the table. I was like, look, this is my energy. And like, I put my hand above his, I didn't touch him. So he could just feel basically the heat that comes off of my body. And I was like, and this is like the stuff I channel, like healing energy. He's like, oh, I go, yeah, you can feel the difference. That's like the magic of it. It's really hard to explain if you haven't experienced it. It could be really outside of the box, but sometimes outside of the box is good. I don't really like boxes, like to smash them and dance on top of them personally. So, I think we have so many legal drugs that do horrible, horrible things to you.
Right.
And so I'm like fascinated by everyone just going that way so easily. I'll just pop a pill.
Well,
I'll
I
just take
like,
a shot. I'll just do this. I'll do that. And my problem will be solved. I think there's more.
yeah, but I gotta admit, I love like gas sex. If I have gas problems,
Thank God for that,
yeah,
right?
and
I
I've,
mean, you couldn't be
I've
around anyone without it. You'd be screwed. That'd be it.
I have aspirin, I have a headache. I mean, there's some medicines that are really
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I'm not against or for, but I know people have with regular medicine, legal medicines that really went the wrong way because the medicine wasn't good for them. They had a side effect.
How
And
about
the
Oxycontin?
doctor, and the doctor's prescribing exactly. So it's that happens all the time. And again, both ways. So I think that healing thing is sort of cool. I think, have you had someone that came with like cancer or something and you heal them? Do you do that?
No, I could see it. I'm like, I repeat, I am not a doctor. I will send you to a doctor. If I think you need a therapist, I will tell you you need a therapist. If you're an addict, I can't help you.
Hmm.
Right? Like I can't help not make you not an addict or whatever, especially if you're in your addiction. I can't help that. That's not something I could do. When you come to me and you're struggling with depression, I feel it as a horrible headache in the very front left of my head. And I know that you're struggling with depression. I can know if your meds aren't working anymore. Like if you're on antidepressants, I could feel that because I experience as an empath and as a clairvoyant, like I experience what's going on in your body and mind.
What is one of the most feel what is one most great? I mean, you talk about the person with cancer. What is the one experience that you just like, wow, this is like that was probably the most
That
shocking
was,
moment.
yeah, I saved a woman. Like I helped save someone. And that guy with the heart attack was pretty important. Oh, and then I do virtual work. So like you don't have to be in my office. I could do a Zoom call or a phone call. And another gentleman, I was on a call with him and I couldn't get over the back pain, like talking to him. I have this enormous back pain. I was like, I don't understand. I really want you to check that out. I want you to pay attention to it. And a month later, he's like, I didn't really understand why he sent me an email. I didn't understand why you were talking about my back pain, but that's where his cancer metastasized in his body, was where I told him. And so he was, under
You're
treatment for
making me feel
that.
like I'm a back pain right now. So
That's just gas. That's a bad chair. Don't worry about it. So you have a sense of humor too. So I think that's cool. I think one of my favorite things to do is I also know when women are pregnant, like because I could feel it. So
oh,
like that's a lovely thing to know.
well,
Like some people will be like, I had miscarriages. I know you know that pain of that. So am I going to be able to have a child? And I can have a pretty good idea. I'm not the best at time, exactly like specific time, but I usually like just feel it. A baby usually feels like this big bundle of love. So it's a great feeling for me to experience.
you have one child, right?
Hmm.
Have you used this for them as growing up? Like you when they're growing up, you can say, oh, you have this and that. Almost go to the doctor right away, and your husband too.
Oh, it's like, I can't read myself. I don't get information. You would think I'd get that information,
Right,
right? I'd be like made in the shade. No, it doesn't. More of like, I know that my child is also sensitive. So instead of them being bombarded by things, I can like help guide them with being extra sensitive or emotional sometimes. It's more of I have experience in this. And so you don't have to suffer through it and feel strange or alone.
right. All right, we're going to also talk about some investment ideas. And the market's been a little tricky lately, you know. I think Tesla's ready to be invested in. I also think film investments are pretty good. I think getting
Oh.
involved in films because wait, I didn't finish my I'm not talking about major films. I'm talking about these minor films that
Mm.
already sold. So you just need the money. Like sometimes the distribution deals. I know I'm with myself a little bit. They already the distribution deal basically sold, and they're not telling you they're going to make millions and millions of dollars, but they're telling you that they're going to make this amount. The movie's going to cost this, and they'll sell it for that. Just small type investment, almost like Lifetime movies.
Like a micro investment.
Like a micro investment in like a Lifetime movie might be good in this market. It's risky,
I'm
definitely.
kind of curious. So, like, what price point is that? It's like 10K for you, 100K? What's a
Not
small
me. No,
investment?
they would. I mean, I know these people like want to do a film like the 80, like, and they want to do whatever. So they do 80 and they like get 20%. It's like 96. So you get 20% in a year, 2 years. That's a pretty good investment, especially today's time, which is really tricky. So that's an example where you might have a safe investment, but it's still risky. But what's good about it is that if this person already has a distribution deal set up and they know and they're guaranteeing it, and you get a little benefits, you get a producer credit, whatever you want that, maybe you get an acting role,
I think it's
whatever.
more ego investment. You'll get better returns in your ego than you will in your pocket.
Uh,
It's super rare.
it is rare. Like a lot of movies nowadays don't make money, but I think the smaller films that are just going like to Lifetime or whatever that are already set up to make money, they need a number of Christmas movies every year. Let's just say
Right, right.
that's one of those
I've
little
never
movies.
heard of that. My experience, and it's been a while again. I mean, I like the idea. My friend won a bunch of awards for his short film, but that is like $500,000. It's called The Ice Cream Man. I highly recommend everyone watch it.
I
Yeah. Um, but typically, it depends if it's pre-production, they typically don't. It might be a negative pickup, which means you already have like someone like Paramount's actually not going to foot the whole bill and they want you to foot it and then they'll help with distribution. But I don't know how the points work on that anymore. That'd be super interesting.
Well, I'll send it to you afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love it.
What I was mentioned to my business idea. I always give one of my ideas out. I guess you could only steal my idea. So this one's called a party pumper.
Hmm.
You have a party, and there's always that one person that doesn't want to do anything, wants to sit on the side. And if you're having the party, you don't want to worry about them. You don't want to think about them. You just want to enjoy yourself. So the party pumper would go to these people that are like the wallflowers,
Mm,
make sure they're still having a good time.
I like it. I mean, it's like a wedding singer, right? We're bringing back the wedding, like get someone to come and mingle.
Yeah, basically mingle with the people that are like out of the
That,
thing, or maybe having a fight with the husband or their wife and
or maybe
whatever.
they just can't let go of their phone. They can't be in the moment.
Right, letting go of
Put
the
your phone down. Put it down.
phone. As a healer, do you that's interesting. Do you think phones are causing any issues with
Oh, they're awful. One of the first things I love when people like to ask me, what's like one of your favorite easy to do healing tips? It's so easy and everyone fights me. You ready?
Mhm.
It's to get your phone out of your bedroom.
When you be much better off?
You just get a regular alarm clock. Like back in the day, we all survived with it, right? Get an alarm clock, put it in there. There's 1,000 sound machines. Put it in there and unplug for your phone an hour before you go to bed. And don't put your phone in the kitchen or in your bedroom so that it's not the first thing and you're not grabbing it because you don't want that energy coming at you all the time. I bet you sleep better.
What's
Your
funny?
anxieties will be off the chain at first. You'll be like, I can't do it. But then I'll be like, Shh, you'll be thankful.
It's funny you mentioned that because another thing that people have now is the watches.
Hmm.
So you double, and they got the ring now coming. You're like totally in that. You have the ring?
I must be connected to the internet. One of the best things I ever do is when I travel and you back in, see, now you can connect still, but like you just go and then you're in the moment. That's why I like to travel, go to other places, different language, and then you really have to be present. You have to
Yeah.
be there and experience it. Yeah.
You know, I'm now on my things that I hate.
Mm.
Hating. So I hate when people use the same phrases all the time. Talking to some people, they like have that same okay, the same words all the time. They have no variety of speech. And like, they're not really even paying attention to you because they're just like saying, uh-huh, oh yeah, okay. And they're not listening to you.
I like that. I don't like it when people drive slower than the speed limit on a 2-lane road.
That drives me crazy too. I can't stand that. I can't stand that. It's so annoying. And you know what's slow? I can't stand like a restaurant that's so slow.
Mm.
A 2.5 hour restaurant. I mean, unless the conversation you're having is so great, there's that quiet moment, you have that dead silence and that quiet, and you're just waiting for the food to come, it's very annoying.
Yeah, and the other thing I hate cruelty, any kind.
That's nice. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very nice. Okay. I was gonna ask you also, conspiracy theories. There's a
Mm.
interesting,
Ooh, fun.
yeah, I actually about the aliens, if they're really here on the earth now,
Oh, I love
but
that.
that they exist, they're actually people. Like some people say they're in government, some people say they're in the business, some people they're the aliens that actually exist. One of the podcasts I was listening to, that they're actually aliens in society. Is that what do you think?
Arcturian, I think I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Arcturians, I think a lot of the spiritual community call them Arcturians. I'm saying I'm messing that up somehow. I could tell, but whatever. It's late at night. My mouth's not working anymore. Um, I definitely think there's aliens. I can't believe in all of infinite space and time that this planet is the only thing inhabited. That seems ridiculous. We don't even know everything that's on this planet.
But do we think people are not
Are
people?
aliens?
Yeah, they
I
live with
wouldn't
not as
use the word
movie.
alien. I would use
People.
different energetic beings, like more dimensional. That's where I would go because there's definitely reptilian energy, which is low vibration, and I can look at people and see it and be like, "Bleh."
So can you I'm really fascinated. What else can you read on me? I'm sorry, I know I didn't pay for the session. What else can you read on me just by looking at me?
You're just like curious and snarky. I don't know. You're a good you're good. It's good. Mishpucha. I think that, right? It's more like that.
That's
It's
again.
like really like so I don't like if you're I don't do audio only. Like it's for me to read someone like
I don't have to go to the doctor tomorrow. I'm
you
okay.
don't have to go to the I don't feel anything
Okay,
like
no
that.
negative. Okay,
Typical middle-aged stomach issues, but nothing too
nothing to that.
terrible.
Okay, I'm okay. I'm
Not
gonna
too
live through
bad.
the day. Okay. If you find out in between this thing, I'm getting sick
I
this.
promise I'll tell
Okay,
you.
I appreciate it. Okay, so I got my first Bud Rebel Award to somebody.
Hmm.
This guy called Pogo Fred. And you could probably get one too. Pogo Fred, I just think is so cool. I saw this guy and he like get dedicated his life to being a pogo guy. Like doing like pogo stick activity. I mean, so
I just
athletic.
hearing the word pogo like this many times today is a win. I
You
mean,
heard
like
it?
I can't remember the last time I heard that word.
Yeah, and this guy goes, he was on like what's it called? America's Got Talent.
Hmm.
I mean, I saw him live, and he was just jumping over people with the pogo stick. He had a giant one and a small one. He's like whole life. is like, and so being a Bud Rebel is being like a little bit different and being a good person. So he
Hmm.
definitely an award for that,
I love that.
So other than that, what can people learn about healing that they can put in their lives? We got the cell phone away. What else can we learn?
I think one of the hardest things for people to do, and it's like a buzzword, so many people talk about it, is boundaries, but it's super important. And when you're learning to set a boundary with someone, you have to first learn to say no. Many people can't say the word no.
Very bad word for me. I can't say that.
Because they forget that when they first heard it, it was an act of protection and love. If your parents told you no, don't run in the street, no, don't stick your, it was no, but then it gets distorted. And nowadays, everyone's feelings, they just think because they feel something, it's more important than anything. No, shut your mouth and listen. Or, okay, you're really upset about something. Why?
You know,
Right?
yeah, you mentioned something today, and I think it's a really big overused word, narcissist.
Mm,
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think people just can be assholes once in a while. They just do things wrong.
they are.
And then,
Look, and
you
we can
know,
grow up and change, and you can do all of that too.
what was it?
But see, also, you can put a boundary with an asshole. I don't like how you talk to me. Leave me alone. Until you apologize, we're good.
Yeah, because like
Peace out.
people are using that term and then they're like getting rid of family, they're getting rid of friends, they're saying that, and because they do one thing that's wrong, and then, oh yeah, and they try to find the things.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is my wavelength. And what do you do as a this is an interesting point.
Yeah, yeah. I could do this. This is fun.
You're in a car with somebody,
Mm,
you get in an argument with them.
mm,
They really get an argument with you, and you're just driving the car, let's just say. Now you're talking about energy. The energy is really bad around
hmm.
climate.
This is how I usually explain to people what energy healing is. I said, you ever walk into a room after a fight and feel the sizzle? I feel that sort of thing all the
So
time. That's how I explain it.
how do you survive that energy level that you can get out of that without it affecting you so much? My energy, okay, I'm screwed. I'm
I was
just
like, give me something specific
hopefully,
because I'm like, yeah.
hopefully nobody. I don't really care. I had an argument yesterday, okay, and it was really tense. It was because she gets very, 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 very mad. And
Mm-hmm.
everything gets thrown out of one little comment. Everything does.
Mm,
This is really hurtful. And so I would then go out and I would just basically say, I initially what I did is I even said I was sorry that whatever hurt your feelings, whatever. But she didn't accept it because she said, this is not real. And she started saying that, she started believing this whole
but
narcissistic.
it's about her. It's not about you.
Right. It is about her. Right. But it's still hurtful because you try to be, like you said, a good, caring person. And now this person
Mm-hmm.
that just made you Hitler and Mussolini together.
Yeah.
What car ride going
You,
back, And so you try to, and then you turn around, you go home. And what I did is I made jokes about like how like conspiratorial she is. Like she'll say to me, "Oh, you took my papers." I said, "Yes, I took your papers and I mailed them to France just to keep myself somewhat sane."
I get it. You were trying to diffuse with humor and protect yourself with your best
Exactly.
defense mechanism.
Exactly. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
went to sleep that night, I was tossing and turning, even though she wasn't there, the energy was still there. The energy
Yeah.
was still there today. Matter of fact, the energy went away a little bit when I went outside and saw the sun.
Yeah, you got to ground. That's my thing. So there's two perspectives, two people who need healing. For your side of the conversation, I would make that person, I would give them and their energy a color. Let's call it muck green, right? Because everything coming out was just mucky and icky and really had nothing to do with you. And you were just an easy scapegoat and you were literally trapped. You can't go anywhere. You're in a car, right? So like I really hate when people have serious conversations in a car because you are trapping someone who might need time to process or breathe or get away from your energy. And when you're stuck in the car, you literally trap them. And I find it cruel. See that word? I don't like cruel people. I mean, like I know we've had serious conversations, all of us, including me, in the car, but in general, it's not my favorite place. You also can make no eye contact, which I think is a chicken shit thing. I'm gonna just say that it's chicken shit. You can't look at me while you're being mean. Fuck you. So I'm spiritual, but you can't mess with me. Like that's my thing. I like to say I'm woo without the bullshit. So let's call the person Alice, right? So Alice is mad. You guys have a conversation. Let's say you disagree on politics. Could imagine. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Here's Alice. And so all of her fear, her anger, her insecurities are coming out at you. And no matter what you do, you're trapped and you feel awful. And you literally feel these waves of hate and anger and frustration coming at you. What you can do at that point is just say, give it a color. So we made her muck green. Instead of muck green touching you, I want you to imagine a wall between you and muck green. I always use a wall of light because I work with light energy. So a beautiful wall of light, a bubble around you, that muck green cannot reach you. If it kind of does, when you get in the shower, bring some Epsom salt in and scrub the muck green off and let it go down the drain with love and light. I wish Alice no harm. She's struggling, obviously, with something that's going on with her, but you don't have to take it on. And you could be like, I'm really sorry we had that conversation. It didn't work well. If you need some space and time, that's great. But you know what? I'm not going to really tolerate you calling me names. That's a no-fly zone for me. I don't appreciate that. That's not really how I fight. You can tell me you don't like me right now. You can tell me I'm frustrated. I don't know how we can become common right now, but you can also then like give me some space. And then I can like process that part. That would be what I say to you. I often when people come and like spew is what I call it when they're spewing all of that stuff. I also will literally imagine a dumpster between me and them, and all the spew goes in that, and it can't touch me.
That's good.
And it sounds simple, but it's really helpful. And then for her, she has like wounds to heal.
Yeah, well, she also, was diagnosed with something and she's not treating it. So,
Mm,
in any way, really, basically, it just keeps
right? That's a lot of
everybody on.
pain. That's a lot of pain.
Yeah, I did that too. I did that last night. I did that too. I did actually said I actually felt sorry for her because she's never going to be happy this way because she's just going to keep seeing people black and white and never see the good in people when
Yeah,
they do anything wrong. And it's a sad way to live. She loses friends all the time, and it's miserable. It's like
for
that's
sure.
so it's very sad. Talking about that, very controversial movie, that the movie on
Mm.
Netflix. Have you seen it at all?
I haven't because watching those kind of things breaks me on the inside. It hurts.
It's an interesting. I think it's episode 4. I got to episode 3, and it's artistically, it's one camera angle. I don't know
Yeah, it's one
how.
shot, one contiguous
I
shot.
don't know how they do that without editing because these actors got to be so professional, so good. That's one of the reasons it draws me in, but it is very depressing, and it is like you're just like, why am I making myself so?
Everyone's telling me to watch it. I was like, I'm an empath. I don't watch violence. I don't watch horrible things because it hurts. It hurts me to watch it. Why would I do that?
So you just watch happy movies as an impact,
No, no, but I have to choose my time and how much of what are disturbing things I can see. I don't really watch disturbing things.
right? Okay, so I'm going to talk about a controversial thing, but don't wait till I finish. So I know you're going to think some. Don't let's see if you're emotionally.
I'm here. I'm your
Okay,
guest.
here we
Let's
go.
go.
Okay, here we go. We got to deport this now. Okay, right now.
Mm.
Right? It is causing. It does not belong in our country. They are causing major messes in this everywhere we go. And I am talking about Canadian geese. Thank you.
They are messy little buggers, aren't
I don't know.
they?
I don't know how the hell they will out. Well, they're trying to deporting on. I don't know who let these ones in, because and they go on your property, and then the dogs want to sniff the stuff that the geese do. It's just really, really
I
horrible.
heard they're going after Teslas, though. I don't know. I could be
I
wrong.
don't know why they can't go to these big guys. They're just really annoying. Oh, one other thing I was going to bring up, very funny. Too fishy. What is this too fishy? But no one says too chickeny, too beefy, but it's always too
Hmm.
fishy. How did that come about? Does anybody like fish that tastes fishy?
Not too fishy. I don't know. I kind of thinking, is that like a Jesus thing? I don't know. Was it meant to be good? Two fish? You teach them
You,
how to fish?
you
I
always
don't
think that
know.
I don't want my fish too fishy, but you can't say I
Not
don't
too
like.
fishy.
You can never say too chickeny. You never say. It doesn't make. I don't understand
I'm
that.
keeping that. I'm keeping
Yeah.
it. I'm
I
going to
mean, it's
use
like,
that one.
yeah, but also they say, I think they get at it by saying the animal's too wild. It's too
Mm.
wild,
They say it could be
too
too
gamey.
gamey.
Right,
Too
but they never,
gamey.
right, but they never say too beefy, too chickeny.
Mm.
I don't know,
That is,
I just don't know what it is with the too fishy.
I mean, I want to know what made you think that. I think that's fascinating.
I think a lot. I don't know what made me think anything, but it goes all over the place. So, you're a spiritual person too? You're like part of a church, synagogue, or whatever. What religion are you? By?
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
Okay.
Spiritually, yeah.
So you go to regular services and you like, and that when they do the prayers, does it mean more for you than, let's say, a Joe Schmo type thing? You get
It always matters who's saying the prayers. I actually left my temple because they got too political. I don't like when they preach from a place that's supposed to be love and peace and introspection.
right. Okay. And so I'm just saying, but like, do prayer when you're a healer, do prayers
Hmm.
is that part of your healing, the prayers?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you have somebody who's not Jewish, let's say.
Yeah, most of my clients are not.
So, I mean, the same God, I guess that would be, would you say it would they say it in would they say it in Jesus' name or whatever? They say it in Muhammad's name or whatever. Would they
Right.
the same thing? Would they, or would they do the prayers like that?
I
How?
often tell them, especially when people come to see me, they're unsure and I could feel their uneasiness and their arms are all crossed. I'm like, I don't know why you came here. I'm so nice. No, I said, like, you're so scared. And like what you see online and what you hear, this is what you get, right? Actually, I'm the nicest version of me in the room. I have the most compassion, like really compassionate. So if you're looking for a place with compassion to express yourself, that maybe you don't have other places, that's what healing provides. But I often tell people that perhaps I hear the answers that you've been asking for because I'm aware and in tune to that. I see all sorts of things.
How did you get to be on TED Talk?
It's a grueling process.
Did you
It's
like
a super grueling
did
process.
you apply to become a
You have to apply.
oh you apply, it's an application.
It's an application all over. There's 100 billion TEDx talks. So TEDx is not TED. They make a big line in that. So you still have to apply. I
What
think my
happened?
application, I sent it in, and then it was like 4 or so months before I heard a response that I made it to the interview phase. Then from the interview phase, it was a grueling interview, and then they accept you, and then part of the TEDx is very like the Marines. They will take anyone, even speakers who are like world renowned, and they want your talk to be a TEDx. Like they have these rules. So they often like let you write something that you think is brilliant and tear it apart several times. As a writer, I'm kind of used to that, but that was particularly grueling. And then you must memorize your talk word for word.
Wow. And how long is your
Yeah.
TED Talk?
Mine is a little, the way they edited it, mm, a little about 7 minutes. I have a little
7 minutes.
beef with that, but yeah, about 7 minutes.
And I guess they pay for this, right? It's, you get,
No, that's my other thing about it.
so this is just for your publicity.
Yeah, I could say I did it.
It's like it's like doing the marathon. You don't get anything
Yeah.
out of it, right? So
Yeah.
and then you I
You
get
work for free for 4 months studying, doing coaching, going through all their
right.
programs
What
and
a
stuff.
game, huh? And they don't make money TED Talk. They don't actually, do they?
Someone is.
So so then you get to be a public speaker. Is that what happens after that, Joey?
You know, I did public speaking before. It was just one of those things that I wanted. I wanted to do it, right? So I just kept applying to places. And then really when I applied with a fuck it attitude, like fuck it, this is how I'm instead of like suffering over everything, this is what I'm going to do. And that's when I got it.
And then you speak in front of an audience. Is that like
Yeah.
they have an audience?
Hmm.
Then you do like in this, and it's all filmed. Like it's filmed too. It's filmed and it's audio. And then after that, then they have
You
some
have no control over any of that though.
that yeah. So you don't know how they're going to react, people and stuff. But no one reacted. There was no like tough
No,
reaction.
no, like it's one day. The TED Talk, the event is one day, the TEDx talk, and then
They fly you out of
but
it. They fly you
no,
out.
I did local. There's no way
Oh,
I would work for free and pay for a hotel and airfare
right, right,
out of my own pocket for something no, like my ego doesn't need that. I was like, I'll apply to all the local ones within driving distance.
right.
And each one has its own flavor and its own flair. And one place just rejected me over and over again. And then I was like, oh, I'm not your people. I'm not the kind of person, right? Like I wouldn't be invited to lunch. Like we don't vibe.
And,
So that's part of it.
and how do you also do Wikipedia? Just curious. Do you do that all? You're on Wikipedia all?
Mm-mm.
No, it's just interesting when people want to play with it there. So let's say,
I am in Wikipedia. I was when I
oh,
wrote my viral essay because I wrote about two very famous people. They published my essay without an edit. Usually you get an edit letter. And this is when I was on Twitter was Twitter back in the day and had a lot of followers. I woke up in the morning, I had a lot of messages saying, you didn't change the names. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm waiting for an edit letter. And they had published my piece without telling me.
oh
And I
wow.
hadn't changed names yet.
So if people want to find more about your writings, your
Mm.
what how can they find more about what you do and all that stuff?
Absolutely. So everything is under Holly Hughes Intuitive. Find me on Instagram.
Wait,
Tell
you
me you heard me.
Holly got
Yeah, yeah.
Holly
Dude,
spelled
on the
that.
Bud Rebel. But yeah, just Holly Hughes Intuitive across all platforms. That's where I'm at.
Okay, but how do you spell your last? Spell it for the.
Oh, like Howard, but without the billions. Hughes.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have to think
Oh,
about
wait, there's three Holly Hugheses, though. You have to put an R.
that.
Holly R. Hughes. Otherwise, you'll
And
come
some of
across a lesbian poet, and that's not me, or a very blonde Republican who is also not me.
and but the books that you've read are books that you've written. The one over here, Real Not Perfect, and
Hmm.
the other books that they can look at too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I contributed to something. I have a lot of essays out. I'm actually talking to a publisher next week for my next book, but yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, independent bookstore, they're all there.
I know you got I get Facebook and Twitter and all the other stuff.
Mm.
Okay,
I'm not on Facebook and
no,
I'm not on Twitter,
oh,
just
okay.
Instagram.
That's Instagram. That's I guess is the biggest one. Okay, I always like to end with a note, a happy note, people. And I think this is with you a little bit. I think a lot of people are stuck in life,
Mm.
and all of us, because in some ways we get in our box, and it's scary to get outside that box and do things that are a little bit unconventional. Holly did that by breaking out of her industry, and I think that's a key. God willing, you get the strength out there to step outside your box. Not only step out of your box, but maybe as you're stepping out of it, maybe crunch it down a little bit.
Or expand it.
Yeah, make it happen a little bit different. Just if you don't do it, you'll never know how great you can be. So give it a try, and hopefully you'll see greatness where you never saw it before. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all. Have a great one.